Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody all around the world. And thank you for joining us today for another Left 4 Dead 2 competitive shoutcast. My name is MK. I will be your cameraman and one of your casters for today. And I have co-casting with me a legendary caster himself who really doesn't need an introduction, but it is Mr. Rails Barlow. How you doing, my friend? Alright, well, as soon as Rails is back, we'll get this game alive momentarily. Looks like Sad Boys are ready. We're gonna have the winner bracket finals for another Swiss Tournament 3. Whoever gets a W here today will be sitting at top, waiting to see who's gonna be the winner of the loser bracket to try to dethrone them later on. We're gonna see Hard Rain Downpour played, map through 1 through 4 guaranteed, maybe a map through 5. They're even talking about it on letting the loser decide who is going to play. So we have that coming into play. Sad Boys are already readied up, waiting for Fear Factory and Rails to return once he's here. And here we go live. 4 chapters of Left 4 Dead 2 start now. Opening attack will be Charger, Smoker, Hunter, and the Boomer. Opening attack will be Charger, Smoker, Hunter, Boomer. 2 boom will land. Hunter lands. Smoker gets a pullback. And they're going to get a death charge onto 6. What is happening? And Healy is getting wrecked up top and gets a full in-cap. What a beginning to the game. You cannot script it. There's another pull. Oh my gosh. What is happening right now? Rails, if you're saying anything, we can't hear you. I saw you say you're muted, but... Charger's gonna land, the spit's gonna land, it's gonna be a slam, it's gonna be another slam! Healy's gonna get in-capped to be black and white! Oh my goodness! Tank is at 44%. We'll do a roster rundown for Sad Boys. We got Saying, Healy sinks, and I believe that is WW or Brands. I'm not 100% sure which one that is. And for Fear Factory, we have Manzano, Chris, Zyko, and NF. I don't know what you're talking about, Rails. I am...
Hey, y'all got to watch where you aiming that thing.
As they're coming up to the next choke point, they're going to go over. There is nothing to contest with them. They only have 3 survivors, though. It will be the first tank of the game for Fear Factory in the hands of Zyko. And the car is already splitting the survivors. They have one in the back. The Boomer's going to grab him. The tank is committing to the Boom survivor. Gets a stumble by hitting the... He whiffs the second punch, though. He whiffs another one. The Charger lands. Tank's at 4,400 HP. The Charger is cleared. The tank is still not got a punch yet. And the tank looks like he's going to go for the car. Oh my gosh. Freaking Discord is annoying. I can't even tell that I'm muted because it makes no noises. Sorry, Rails, I've been muting the whole time. It's been crazy what's going on right now. I'm sorry that I haven't been able to communicate with you, but apparently Discord doesn't make a blip sound when I mute because I'm streaming and I hate it, but it is what it is. But welcome, Rails. Sorry for the delay there.
No worries whatsoever. We've seen absolute pandemonium so far, and it continues for Team Fear Factory on the SI side of things with Zyko's tank. He's down to 3k HP. There's 1 survivor dead. At this point, Sad Boy should probably be wiping, especially because it's a best of 1, but... I don't know, Zyko's already taken half his health down with this, and he's still playing with cards in the street, so he kind of has to give a second for his support to come up. But yes, what a start to the match so far. Technical difficulties notwithstanding. My computer had a heart attack for a hot second too, but for Fear Factory on the infected side of things, they're going to keep pushing this tank in with 2 cards, and they have a tri-cap as well. Once the tank probably gets close enough, we'll see that be sent in, because he's already down to under 2k. Support should be right about now, and indeed the tank is still trying to zone someone. The smoker pull lands, the punch lands as well. Double cap is in. That's going to be 1 survivor still left up, and that's a card. Wipe, MK. That is how you want to start this game. Into Team Fear Factory with that opening death and now the wipe.
Oh my gosh, Rails, what a beginning. We saw a death charge on the opening hit onto Sad Boys and a falling cap. Oh.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, that is something where, through the map veto, honestly, any one of those maps would have been worth it for a winner's bracket final like this. But on Hard Rain Downpour, I'm assuming we're playing 1 through 5. Anytime you see an insta-kill off the bat like that, it absolutely should never happen. And I don't know if it's that Fear Factory has more comfortability on this map or more time with it, but both these teams, having played this far in this tournament and otherwise, you know, they should be familiar with risks like that by now, and I don't expect to see a replication of that, but it could be as we're going live here. Fear Factory have a tremendous chance to take this match in whatever direction they want to. There's the pull going out, and the pounce also trying to land. Charger does land, but it's not a death charge, it's just a double cap instead. Triple cap almost with that smoker as well onto LS plus Rochelle getting damaged, but MK, that is obviously nowhere near as catastrophic as the insanity we saw in the last half.
It definitely is not Rails, but it is a good average. 7%, I would say, is a pretty good amount of damage for opening hit without the spitter, really. So I think they maximized what they could. If I saw Sack Order, I think they'll get a charge spit next. And indeed, they're gonna. Is that going to be 100? That's the best hit you can get besides the quad Rails. 100 Jockey, Charger, Spitter. Great Sack Order by Sad Boys. Let's see if they can get the momentum back in their game before they get this tank up. And it's going to be at 44%. And let's see if they make a plan on that car alarm, Rails.
Reloading.
This tank is going to have to do work at this point, notwithstanding this hit, just because of that insta-kill and then the obvious wipe. They could have survived the tank on the last tab as well, but instead Fear Factory are going to be on their survivor side, trying to take as little damage as possible here. The Charger wants to rocket from the roof. Hunter's going in already, going to land. Charger has not yet gone. Jockey does land. Now the Charger goes in, stumbles Rochelle in the spit. That's a tremendous amount of damage on Manzana.
That was impressive infected play. They tag team Manzano to get him slow to force the pop, the pill pop early, but this will be the first tank of the game for Sad Boys in the hands of Saying, and it looks like they're going to be able to retreat back without any trouble, but right now they're spit blocked and the car could come flying in here, Rails. And look at the
pole. And the Smoker's going for a pole. Going to land onto Nick, and another car is going to go flying into the air, and that has that going to land on Chris. Nice M2 on that boomer as well by him, and the Smoker is also going to die. So Saying has a lot of work to do on this tank. It really was, and I like the idea to spit block. Yeah, the spit block is a little unconventional there just because that's the one path the survivors do usually use to get back, but at this point, I mean, if the survivors just don't want to get anyone dead or anyone basically in a wipeable position here, I think they maybe fight it on the roof for a little bit and then decide to go into the store, because the save for less is a spot where you might take a lot of damage, but you won't wipe, and if they can make distance points plus any kind of bonus on this, they'd be in a great position. That Jockey's going to land up top, Charger's not going to land, Rock's going to go in, not going to land either. The Hunter does get a pounce on to Nick, and we're going to see some of these cappers landing probably in a way they wouldn't on other ping just because it is a neutral server, one game orange situation here when it comes to latency, but kind of like I said here, MK, they are going to be rotating actually out of the save for less now because the tank is on the second pass, but honestly, if I'm them, I'm trying to rotate back inside before he commits. I don't know if they'll do that, though.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure either.
Is dead, so tank is on second pass, 90% rage, and also basically only taking about 200 damage worth of chip, and I guess he's going to want some kind of 3-cap with this that could do inside or outside, but Smoker inside there really is not amazing, so I think if they're going to stay to fight it outside, he's going to want like Smoker Hunter probably, because this Charger then is going to be the thing that the SI are going to have to land to make any kind of magic happen aside from a hittable, and that's going to be the support up Charger, Jockey, Smoker. He should be committing soon, no boomer, which would have been the big wipeable play from the SI had they gotten that to land, but this car is going to go flying to the right-hand side, absolutely not in play. He's going to be committing from the front as well, going for the other two cars, putting them on the roof, and the survivors are just in no trouble as of yet. And now he's going to be trying to get a corner on a pulled survivor there, but it's not going to land. The Charger's going to take the pulled survivor instead. Nice multi-punch, though, getting out from the tank, but he's down to under 1k HP. That's going to be the Charger getting the flying cap onto Manzana along with that Jockey landing, but that's what I was kind of saying, MK. They really would have liked a boomer, like a multi-boom, or one of those hittables to go in the right direction to have any kind of damage there. The tank was down to under 1k HP by the time the other two pinners actually did anything.
Yeah, correct. They do survive, though, Rails. They're going to be able to make it with bonus. They can take a lead depending on how much they can hold on to. We'll see post-tank. They're at 522. They haven't found any extra set of pills yet, but they do have the first choke coming up. 2-2 with the Hunter. And let's see what that final spawn is, Rails. It's going to be a Jockey. Let's see if they send it quick.
Exactly. Boomer's not going to get anything on the arc boom either, so it'll be comeback potential for Sad Boys after this. It would seem unless something catastrophic happens. There's a nice pound spin, however, on to Rochelle in the corner, opening up that damage bonus to MK. Really nothing off the top there. He's still 495 bonus for the survivors here. Great start by Fear Factory, and after a catastrophic incident like the death charge on the last half, which you really don't want to see this late in the tournament. That's something where if this ends up being the Delta, that'd be really, really unfortunate for Sad Boys, but this does have some comeback potential to it as a campaign, as do most campaigns, but down 4 is usually a slugfest right till the end, especially on 1 games when you have quads, Jockey, Smoker, Charger, Hunter, 4 Sad Boys coming in right now, actually, with that Smoker Magic land on the first. Charger's so rocking, a ridiculous double charge on the survivors there as more scratches go in, and it does knock another 100 off the bonus. MK, that was a double charge from Kevin that actually got a double.
Did you see Coach got yeeted on top of the roof by the 2 charge? He landed on top of the ladder. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Left 4 Dead, 13-year-old game, still seeing stuff I've never seen. But all the pills are now exhausted, like you said. DB 44%, HB 32%, and I don't think they'll be able to get inside the building before spawns are up. They're gonna go fast, get a pull in the back. The charger lands as well. The Spickle's on the wrong target though, and it looks like they'll get one more quad try before they get into that safe room as Zyko gets stumbled into the spit and loses a little bit more of his permanent HP, but they still have 314. Last hit's gonna be a quad, Rails. Let's see what they can do.
Because of NF Meister being slow in the back, right? There is the potential, I think, for maybe 2 hits on this, because they can in-cap him, get this bonus under 300. I like the way that Sad Boys are still continuing to play on the SI, because it is early in the game, obviously, so they never want to really give up. There's the in-cap. They control the hell out of that, and now Chris is going to get pulled and punched by the Charger. They are so split. This is why I was already a little bit concerned about what was going to go on to Fear Factory here, but that's 2 in-caps, with the bonus getting absolutely annihilated because of one survivor's slow MK. I called it right before that hit, and I didn't think it was going to end in 2 in-caps. I'll be honest.
No, but it decimates the DB. It is almost non-existent. Well, actually, it's most of their bonus, to be honest, 23%, but that 10% health bonus is worth a little bit more than that DB. And you're right, they're going to get one more, but it will be a 2-2. It's a favorable 2-2, though, not a Jockey and a Smoker. One boom will land, and I think now they'll play a little bit of a waiting game to try to bait out this last hit to see if they can get a final spawn.
And both health and damage bonus are still on the table right now, so as long as one of these cappers lands, preferably the Hunter with the spit, that would do enough damage as needed. But here comes the Hunter from the top, getting team skeeted right there by 2 survivors, really, and NF is going to take a little bit more damage there, but that's really not going to do a whole lot. So good on Team Sad Boys for fighting back the way they did. The last little pull is going to do nothing, but it's going to be Team Fear Factory taking advantage of that early death charge plus no tank wipe. 616 to 131 after the first map of this winner's bracket final here in another Swiss Tournament 3. And MK, I'm so glad to be casting this alongside you, and that's Manzano saying in Spanish, what a good final. We're really, really good. Be some of the best.
Exactly.
And at this point, I think that might be partially sarcastic, just because, I think on Survivor's side, because there was such a huge play with the death charge, they may have wanted to take a little bit more of a lead off that than they did. But we'll see. My Left 4 Dead 2 is currently crashing, so if you can still hear me, I'll be right back.
That's no problem. And now what we'll say to, I believe it was Saying who got death charge, so to the Spanish community, they'll say, "Como estuvo tu viaje, mi amigo?" How was your trip into the water?
Something like that.
I was pretty close. I know it wasn't 100%, but I was close.
That happening start too is something where you're either team, it gives you a chance to kind of reset, which is good, but at the same point, something that catastrophic happening as the first thing in the game, like Sad Boys just have to completely get over it as much
Indeed.
as they can. Like I said, you don't really want to see that, And Left 4 Dead is literally having a 1v1 with me right now, so they can start.
You're getting a little robotic on us. The Jockey.
The game is being.
Yeah, it's being a little weird. Jockey is pre-spawn. They know it's to the left. They're trying to chip him down. He's down to 108 HP. They do have a Smoker Charger Spitter. And now they can't really go quick because that Jockey is already pretty much dead. And it looks like all the spawns will come from above except the Smoker from the front. They're not paying attention to the Smoker. The Charger gets deleted though. And that's going to be almost no damage, but it's spit block. Now one thing to notice here, Rails, this is one of the D versions of hard rain downpour, so there's an opening in this factory building, so they don't have to go all the way around through the alley. That's one thing to note. And the map is still worth at 600 distance, so it's not worth any less. Actually, I think I'm wrong. No, it is 600. Thought I messed up there.
I thought we were closer than that.
Map being 600
I have
distance.
returned.
Oh yeah, there we go. Map being 600 distance means 1,200 points of bonus, 30 points per pill. That's what they got right now, and we see a transition into the factory building, and we should see the hit before they go inside. Spawns are set up all above, Boomer above, Smoker Charger, and Spitter from the other side. And let's see if they can capitalize with a pretty favorable 2-2. Hunter is up, Boomer goes down the bottom, gets a 3, boom, the Charger misses, the Hunter misses. Again, it was a great boom rails, but no cappers land and no spit damage.
Exactly, and this is kind of what you expect from Fear Factory. Like I said, they're being maybe a little sarcastic at the end of the last map, where they want their survivor side to have a stronger performance. Like they want to have at least 2 survivors, maybe they can save room with bonus if they can. But this tank spawn, you know, since they're at 47% right now, can be super duper dangerous from Sad Boys here. And if Sad Boys want to try to get the momentum back on their side, obviously a wipe is paramount, but I wouldn't do anything like too out of the ordinary yet. Just keep playing as well as they are. Maybe send the squad, but there's still Horde, Hunter, Jockey, Smoker, Charger. I liked their SI on the last map just because it showed that they weren't just going to roll over completely after the tank didn't go as well as they wanted either. So if they can just reset and then actually do well on this, they could take that momentum right back. And they are saving the squad for when the survivors transition outside right before this tank. Let's see if Fear Factory positions themselves well enough to not have anything catastrophic happen. Not sure exactly if they're going to go right or left, but instead they're going to go right in underneath the spawn. Charger is not going to land, but we do see the double cap momentarily landing with that Hunter and that Smoker. Now the Jockey landing just a little bit, so it's good damage MK, but no frag video wipe.
No frag wipe, but they do accumulate a little bit more than 10% damage, getting it down to 82.4, and we will have the second tank of the game for Sad Boys in the hands of Healy, longtime team player. And it looks like Healy's already trying to get high ground, and it looks like we might see a little rock come into play here and get a couple of attacks before the commit rails.
I love seeing this still because with this not this tri-cap, but these 3 SI they have right here, they can get a rocket. But I was going to say the survivors have to take a bunch of hits in this area if they want to survive. If the rocket's going to get skied, the Hunter's going to land, Smoker's looking for a pull, Boomer's going in and not going to land either. So if they can get another rock attempt and try to really knock the survivors down into where they don't have ammo, that would be the ideal part here. And I really do love when tanks are able to play on the top of this roof, but they are chipping him underneath. Chris hitting him with that Uzi, I'm pretty sure, through the floor along with the rest of his team, and that's a non-negligible chip now. He's already down to 91% HP. This is something where when he commits, I don't know if they're going to be able to play Rock as much now if he keeps taking chip like that. They got to be super careful and just not even show sight until they either get what they want before they go in. And MK, it looks like they're going to be sending this in a little bit late, but they're considering if they want to commit or if they want to keep rocking, I'm pretty sure. The Jockey dies first. Hunter dies there. Charger goes in and stumbles with a punch and a rock, not going to land there at the end. They're right at that point where, because there's ammo in that shack on this version of Hard Rain Downpour and on every version of Hard Rain Downpour, right, they really can't do the bleed for ammo game anymore, and it's not worth it to take, I'd say, too much more chip before rolling it in. I think the SI are having that same conversation right now.
Yeah, that looks like they're to try for another hit. This is interesting, Rails. I mean, they've gotten 4.5% from these attacks that they're sending in. Let's see if they get a little bit more. The Jockey, the Boomer lands, which is important, and it's a 2-boom. Smoker's going to try to keep its life and despawn, I would say. But that's another couple percentage off, and I mean, they're not getting much though, Rails, but if you look at the bonus, they've already chipped away about a little more than 6% just from sending these hits in. But do you think the trade-off of 700 HP is a fair trade-off for it? What's your opinion there?
I think it's okay at this point, but I don't think he's able to keep this for another rock. He's on 35% second, and so if he doesn't land a rock here, he'd have to roll. He's just gonna roll him with the Hunter, Smoker, and the Charger. Most of the Hunters on the left-hand side looking for some kind of early support, but the survivors are rotating around the shack. First one's gonna land on Rochelle. Hunter is also gonna land. Tank is still on Rochelle right now. Oh, fit down, it is a double cap as well. Hit the Smoker and the Charger both land. And he takes gonna throw a rock right at the survivor next to him. That's gonna be 2 in caps. He has 1200 HP left. Getting another punch in the corner there now. On to Ellis. That's gonna be the in-cap on the Manzano. It's just Chris left up for Fear Factory, and the tank is going to die. But what a beautiful tank commit by Healy with those 2 pinners landing, and it's almost the wipe. MK, that's exactly what they need.
Yeah, I was a little questionable on playing the rock for that little bit of damage, but look what it did. It paid off. They got 3 in-caps out, which means all the pills have now been exhausted. Bonus is at 308. 2-2 ensuing, which will be a Hunter and a Jockey, and a 1-boom. Oh, it's a triple boom. and the Boomer is not dead. They might even get a good sack order depending on what they do here, but Fear Factory is just going to back up, kill that Boomer, and now we have a little bit of a waiting game again, Rails.
But this is now on the SI side because there are 3 survivors in full bleed, no pills left, only 1 survivor with perm HP of any kind to speak of left, and they really can't spend a whole lot of time waiting here. That's why this hit's gonna go in now. Hunter is gonna get skeeted though, Jockey's gonna get shut down, and that spit is going to do just a little bit of damage onto Coach. If you notice, MK, they're still taking a bit of residual common damage, and also they're going to start splitting up a little bit, it would look, because this is something where they need to hold W as much as they can. They're going to get massacred if they aren't careful, and that Charger's going to go in. They're just going to land on him in the corner just to slow them down once again, but you see the W being held very, very aggressively here by Team Fear Factory, and that's going to be another pounce landing onto NF Meister. Now the Smoker Pull is going to go out onto him, and the Boomer is going to spawn up top and proxy onto Coach, but it's getting sloppy there, MK, because the survivors don't have that much health left to speak of.
And they didn't check that left room for pills, so they're going to miss a set of pills in the back. They ran right by it. No one even checked. So now there's only a possibility of 1 set. Oh, I missed that.
This is what I was talking about. The aggressive W by Manzana was kind of what I was referring to there, just because of how split they are. And the reason that he's going for it, I think, is because they took a whole lot of damage at the tank. They know they're going to die in the main field. No, he plays Zyko in the back. Charger comes up, doesn't get a fit on NF Meister, but this is, and I mean this in the absolutely most polite way possible I possibly can, that felt like Seed of Hug for a hot second.
Yeah, they were a little separated.
You had people who are halfway across the map, but it's the right call by the survivors, because at this point they have to wait and bleed out this entire event. There is absolutely no way that they make it through this field if Team Sad Boys are on top of their shit on SI, you know what I mean? So this is now which is going to be super differentiating. Let's see if they get other aim cap. That's going to be the spit going in, going to land on Coach for a little bit. Boomer's off. They're going to die, Spitter dies, and that's an end cap again, MK. This is what I was kind of talking about. Chris is the only person who has a chance to stay fast, and now they have somebody black and white as well.
And they have no choice but to put down NF2. They're going to have 2 survivors, black and white. You can't be 1 HP in this sugarcane field. It's just going to end in disaster. Let's see if they can find 1 set of pills in that trailer or in that shack. But they're going to send spawns in right away. The Charger's going to miss. The Smoker lands. The Hunter misses. A quad boom comes in at the end. But I think they might make it through unless they go down in here. They got to get through here. Oh, there's an in cap.
They have 2 survivors, black and white. 1 person's down, and yeah, no, they're gonna start leaving people because at this point, like I said, they're just trying to get Chris's bonus. And honestly, I think they're probably pissed off that they took that much damage on the tank in that area. I think they probably felt like they should have done that better because this is kind of endurance campaign. So 3 survivors making it through the field with 2 black and white. Let's see if they can actually bring it to the safe room. Jockey is gonna be bouncing in, is going to get shut down. Spit goes in and is not gonna land. So all right, the rapid pace of play from Team Fear Factory here makes total sense, and they're actually going to get 3 survivors in with bonus. Okay, I'm not happy with that if I'm Sad Boys at this point, because they have no damage bonus. They have 2 people black and white, and that's an infuriatingly close chapter that we're looking at here, unless it's Charger with chest bumps. NF Meister, but he does not! That's it, MK. Honestly, I'm happy with that chapter if I'm Fear Factory because of how aggressive they went, but I think they probably would have liked to see a better tank fight for sure, and Sad Boys can bring this back very, very easily on this map. We need to see their survivor for more than 3 seconds with 4 people this time, you know?
Yes, exactly. Sad Boys is the #1 seed of this tournament. They are the only one that hasn't lost a game yet. They had a close game last week with South Stars, but unfortunately for South Stars, they did fall to them. So now it's going for that #1 spot. They were Death Charge map 1. That's one thing to note here. But this is the chance to make up some points for them. Fear Factory only made it in with, what, like 50-some points positive. I think it was 648 because of the death. But the bonus gives them plus 48 on top of the distance. But we're going to go live onto the second half. Opening attack will be Spitter, Jockey, Charger, Smoker. And it looks like they're content with maybe sending this early here. Rails. I thought maybe they were going to wait till they came out. But it looks like they're getting kind of antsy. All the SI are on the ground. Yeah, no, I mean, I think they're just going to try to go for the charge spit the best they can here, and they don't have the Walker tempo for anything, of course. But the Smoker does manage to land. The Charger whiffs. The Jockey goes in, does land for a hot second, but that's a good basic shutdown from the survivors there. Not a whole lot of damage going out whatsoever. Basically 9 damage total from the SI or any other friendly fire. That's exactly what they need. And as the #1 seed of this tournament, then, Sad Boys know how to get back into this game. And like I said, when you see survivors fight out there, because of the ammo pile that exists in Hard Rain Downpour, it's a little bit different. When
there's an open area like that. If those auxiliary cappers don't land, then that tank doesn't do obviously nearly as much. The second in cap on that last half came from the charger landing, I'm fairly sure. And it's like, so okay, if you have a chance to actually do better on the survivor side, this is the way to do it. But that double boom for this attack is going to open this up as the tri-cap comes. Jockey's going to the 3-cap with the double boom going from Team Fear Factory on to Team Savage. With a tremendous amount of coordination. That's the exact opposite of what I said they wanted to do later for the tank fight, MK, and that was a gorgeous 3-cap.
It was beautiful. Cheeky boomer spawn up above, and it does die kind of towards the end. So it was a great sack order on top of it, and a rolling tri-cap that comes in. But it was a great clear by Ellis nonetheless, because he had no ammo. He had a pistol clear that charger down. So, I mean, all considering, I think it was a pretty good clear considering one survivor was up with no ammo in his gun. But if you're Fear Factory, you can't ask for anything more. Like you said, Rails. Bonus at 80.6%, 1,065. They're getting a pull in the back. One boom does land. And I was wrong, by the way, with the sack order last hit. Looks like the boomer did die out of order, so they're not going to, they had a 2-2 there. And it looks like...
What the hell is going on? Because, sorry, Coach Cook's in the back there. I think they were maybe debating whether they could go forward or not based on what this tank is doing. But the tank in the hands of Chris is going to go back up top. I think it was Coach killing the spitter there. I thought he was going to get ridiculously separated for a second, but he managed to bring it back together. And now they're looking for that Uzi chip through the floor as well, but they cannot quite find it. And MK, I don't know if you want to commit this with a certain set of spawns, like an open field 3-cap or something, but landing a boomer here and a multi-boom would be ridiculous.
Yes, it would, but it looks like Fear Factory wants to play a little rock as well. They're going to go in. They land the boom. The jockey gets melted. The charger misses. Gets a fist, so the damage will be minimal. But everything, the boomer and the charger do land, and now Chris will be able to throw a couple rocks with minimal chip, and I don't know if he'll be able to play rock much longer here, Rails. Maybe one more. Oh, they're already back out. He only lost 20%. Actually, it's still going down.
I think they were nervous. I think they were nervous about the end of the boom horde coming in. Now they do have a nice open field 3-cap for this. Let's see if Chris wants to commit or if he wants to keep it on the top of the roof for another rocket. Looks like they're thinking rock hits, at least for a couple here. There is the E-Rock being thrown as the hit comes in. Not going to land. Jockey gets taken out. Hunter is still bouncing around. Hunter does land. Smoker does not. Rock is going to go flying in towards the survivors. Gets skeeted, and that is the hit that maybe would have been preferential to commit with here unless something else happens. And now they're going to LOS him hard, MK. There's no hitbox opportunity, and if they're smart about it, they just stay in there until he's on second pass and then continue this. But they're still peeking him for a little bit of sight, maybe because they're worried about like a boom somehow spawning on top of that shack and getting them before they're all the way set up. They're playing it very, very carefully on Survivor's side, but the inverse of that happens with that one boom landing. Jockey and a charger for the rest of the support. I don't know if Chris is going to want to roll with this. Most likely not with a one boom, but that means one more rock hit at least is going to come in. They're fine on ammo, as I said before, and I keep mentioning that because that is such a crucial thing at this juncture. But I don't know. This is something now where he is on second pass anyway. It's Jockey, Charger, and Hunter for it, so no Smoker, and I think they're going to have to roll with this. That means these pinners are going to have to land. That Charger's going to have to do work if they want to set up the tank for an in-cap from that. He only gets one shot to do it, of course. So with 40% frustration, I think Chris is going to be forced in with this. Indeed, he is. Let's see when the SI decide to go. He's already down to 4,500 HP. One survivor is a little separated here. Punch is going to land, but that's not the corner. Another punch whipping right there onto one of the survivors as well, as this has turned into somewhat pandemonium. And that rock is going to land. Charger is not going to. Hunter manages to, but that's going to be a clear on the other side. And the survivor gets hit up top. Chris chasing him around for the in-cap, but now he is going to be mostly all alone, trying to decommit, and he gets out with 89 HP, peeking around the corner, down to 68. He gets blocked though with 68 HP left, but it's only one in-cap, and that's a dead tank, MK. This is kind of closer to what I think Fear Factory might have been expecting on their survivor side, and Sad Boy shut that down, forced to commit with non-ideal SI for the area, and they are blitzing the rest of this map.
And they find the pills. They went to the left room and they got them. So they got 2 sets of pills. Bonus at 685. And right now, if they walk in with this bonus, Sad Boys will retake the lead, but they're going to go in quickly. The Smoker misses. The Hunter will land, and so will the Spit. So they'll maximize the damage from what spawns they had. And that'll take the bonus down to 656. And actually, it didn't take much off at all there, Rails. That's still a pretty decent bonus.
That pound spit really doesn't do a whole lot nowadays, and at the same point in time, it's like, okay, now the survivors have this much bonus. They have to take this dreaded ladder hit, but there are a couple of options for them, ladder and stairs, I should say. But Smoker, Spitter, Jockey, Charger should be enough for the Infected to do something really, really good on this. At least the Charge Spit, if not some insane bowling play or something like that. But I'm pretty sure the survivors are going to bait it out as long as they need to, and just be sure that they can bait it the way they want to on the staircase at the same point in time, because they've already taken the second level and they have to just worry about this one direction now. As the Jockey pre-spawns for noise, Rochelle's looking for this already, trying to get the chip through the wall, not quite landing it, however, and let's see if there's a way for the SI to get some cheeky spawn here. They want to do a pull charge, it would look like, towards the other side. If that lands, that'd be massive, because they need to make up for that discrepancy in tank damage between the sides. Rochelle still baiting it out, 20 seconds until that horde comes in. Let's see if the survivors are going to finally push up into this. The commons are dead, and indeed they are going to take the top there with the smoker spawning up, getting the pull on the coast, and that's going to be the pull charge off the side onto Healy. That's exactly what they were looking for, and I do not think that was expected at all, MK, from that spawn. I don't think he was ready for the smoker, and he wasn't at the distance where he could cut the tongue.
No, it was very well done by Fear Factory, maximizing that further. Look at that. The DB got melted away down to 20%.
That's what they wanted, because, I mean, he's also now black and white, and that's worth mentioning, I think. And now that's Boomers going to spawn smoking. The single, but Rochelle is alone up top. The Jockey's looking for any kind of spawn. The Hunter's on the second floor. Hunter's gonna land. Jockey's going for Rochelle, but Rochelle is M2ing around and does manage to get the kill. Nice play by Snix right there to shut the Jockey down, or else that would have been catastrophic, but MK, you called it right. This bonus total is now down to 423, 12% DB, and 1 survivor black and white.
Yeah, they needed that hit from Fear Factory. That helped make the tank seem a lot better. Again, that reset on Healy, and they were close to getting another one on that Jockey, but it doesn't happen. Now they're going to probably get the proper sack that they want, and I think they hold these 3 spawns or the sugarcane field, or else they're just going to hold W and go through if they go right now.
Oh, the issue that they're going to have is that they only have 1 set of pills. Snix is slow, and they also have the survivor who's black and white. So at this point, it will be interesting to see who gets those pills. They are indeed going to start pushing all the way down, and Snix actually took them to keep it fast that way. If Healy dies, they will just go to the safe room, and it is going to be a quad attempt, though. Jockey, Hunter, Charger, and Smoker survivors going to the left-hand side, going into this room to clear out the rest of that residual comment, which I think is a good idea, but they're going to have to take this cane field hit with the 1 survivor being 47 HP black and white. If they could even just kill Healy here, that would be huge for Team Fear Factory in terms of how this delta could get made up by the survivors as they start ghosting their way into the sugarcane field. This is a huge hit. MK, obviously one of the harder hits in the entire game to survive on survivor side if everybody isn't fast somehow, especially with this quad, but it's all on this Charger. Coming from the right-hand side, as the spawns have started to go in on the survivors, Hunter is going to not land. Charger whiffs as well. Jockey gets M2 and shut down, but the Charger does go Fist City on a few of the survivors there. No more damage bonus, and indeed that almost killed Healy from that, but instead Sad Boys are going to be very much alive, and MK, that's going to be a more even game now, going into the 3rd map that we're going to be seeing here as the smoker dies.
Yeah, that got the bonus under 300, 274. I think they'll be able to get a little bit more damage, but the spawns are not going to be favorable. They're not going to get much with this Boomer, Spitter, Jockey. They need to spit now, maybe. So they get the Jock, though! It doesn't land in the spit, though. That was actually pretty close to getting a decent amount of damage. They'll get another 30 points from it, but they're going to walk in with 240 to be exact. And let's see what kind of score we have. That'll put them at 971 to Fear Factory's 1264. So they make up about, let's see, 200 points there, Rails, I think?
Yeah, I mean, and that's really good from that tanking from the way the survivors were able to just not take as much damage on that same exact tank. Like, there was that really good hit that Fear Factory were able to put together with this 1 survivor getting in-capped off the top of the building, and that's basically what you can expect from a really well-played SI side like that. So I've liked Fear Factory's SI side so far, and I think that might be the difference in the game as my game crashes for the 2nd time on loading into another map. But I think it's going to be something now where it's going to come down to more map 4 than it is map 3 even. I'm going to make that prediction now before we even see it.
Ooh, late tank, 77% Rails. It's interesting. We're going to see the tank right around the same area as we saw it on map 2. I wonder if the survivors will push into the factory building, or if they're going to be content with taking it back where they took it last chapter. We will not see early tank. We will not see an event in the Rayford shipping building area either. And we won't see it with where the water tankers are either. So, interesting location. As Healy returns, untagged. And we wait for Mr. Rails Barlow to return. But we are going to go live. Opening hit under Charger, Smoker, and the Boomer. We should see them hit on the transition on the outside of the building here, due to the fact that there's no spitter to we return to this tournament match. We go live. Those just joining, we are in a winter bracket finals between Fear Factory and Sad Boys. Fear Factory has the upper hand. They won map 1, they lost map 2, but they won map 1 by more than they lost map 2 by, which is why they have the delta that they have. A little bit less than 300 points in map 3. There's a good possibility we will see Chapter 4 finale played. It's going to come down to the loser team. Or the losing team, I mean. And here they go, transition to the outside. Charger rockets in. Smoker misses his pull. There is a pounce onto Chris. It's cleared relatively quickly. And it looks like it'll be an even spread amongst 3 survivors. 193, 2 at 95. Manzana will remain at 100 for at least one more set of spawns. I did not quite see the sack order. It might not have been the greatest. Spitter up first, Jockey up second. We're waiting for the last 2 to come up. And it's going to be a Charger and Hunter. Actually, it was a great sack order. It's the best hit you can get. And I don't see them sending this hit in here, Rails, if you have joined us, until the end of this building on the other side, maybe. Or the spiraling staircase to maximize damage. And if we all remember, Rails, what happened to Win Serial in RBT 6 in this map, when they tried to jump over the railing and they triple hung themselves. They would have hung 4, but you can't do it.
And that's the thing about this hit now that is kind of notorious, because if they send it here, the survivors will literally hold W and just blitz out into the brick area. But right now, instead, I think they're honestly just going to wait for it, because they could wipe the entire team here, especially given the fact it's an orange ping game, not a green ping game. And that's something where it does mean more. You have teams of these caliber matching up, and here is that baiting timer, which might turn off again by the time they get through the offices, and indeed it does. But Jockey, Hunter, Charger, Spitter, this is a wipeable hit, honestly, here. Because if they can get somebody ledge or just dropped off the left-hand side there, that'd be what they needed. They can charge the insta kill or an end to capture here, so.
They could take this choke point right now if someone just jumps on the railing. They cannot spawn on the roof. They're just too scared to do it. They could block everything with Chris just standing right there. They need, oh, if he was up there, they just need to go. If someone is standing there, I think they might just let the horde come in.
Wants to, yeah, I mean, they might just let it be that way, I guess, if they're going to be jumping in the horde. No, they're going to be going now. Jockey's hitting the left on the L's there. Charger is going to whiff, but the Hunter does not on Chris down below with some spit just on that second platform. That looked a lot worse than it actually turned out to be, MK. If that Charger had managed to land instead of splitting the survivors by whacking the railing, then that would have been catastrophic. But instead, that's a really great take by Team Fear Factory when they rushed out like that. That was either you're going to make it or you're not, and they managed to dodge the SI the way that they did. So Smoker, Boomer, Jockey, and a Charger for this next hit from Sad Boys, but they're already looking at the tank spawn percentage being at 77% and saying we probably have this hit. And one more with that Boomer landing. Charger, though, funny his way from the rooftop there and not managing to land whatsoever. Jockey gets shut down, Smoker gets shut down. Honestly, on the SI side of things right now, MK, I think Sad Boys are playing to the survivors' pace more than they would want to be, just a tad.
Yeah, that is, I believe, the third set of spawns in, and look at the damage. They have only just elapsed 10%, so they're averaging just a little bit more than 3% per hit, and I think that's pretty good with the orange ping that you have. But we do have the third tank of the game for Sad Boys, and I'm pretty sure that's in the hands of Bran or Double W. I'm not sure which one that is, but they're going to go in for damage. The Charger gets melted. The Jockey gets deleted. The Hunter doesn't find a way, and that's clean set of spawns taken down while Bran gets to higher ground. And we're going to have the tank fight in the same area here, Rails. Exactly the same.
Yeah, I mean, this spot is still good here, and they really can't get a push forward at all with a hit up. I don't think they want to. I think this open area is better for them. So Charger, Boomer, Smoker for this support hit. Brands has the tank and is going to be trying to do the best that he can to not take chips from the top, but that fog is a little bit of a concern here. As that Smoker pulls for a Boomer to land a double boom and a rock onto Chris with the Charger going in, and Chris is pulled again with that rock going in, not going to land. That's a rock hit there, MK, and it is a little bit of a different fight just because the visibility isn't as good. Plus, if the survivors do get out of the positions that they're in at all like that, you can see how it can go catastrophic in 1 second.
Yes, exactly. Unfortunately for Chris, he does eat a rock. Bonus is at 83.2 now. So they lose about 7% damage with that hit that goes in. It's not terrible, but I mean, you would be happy if you're the infected, maximizing damage. Hunter coming in. Boomer trying to get a cheeky spawn. It gets one. The jockey lands. The rock doesn't. And there's a little bit more damage. It's only 11 more points, but they do land rails, chipping away at that bonus even more.
Indeed they do. Chris skeets that rock, and he's giving the tank a little bit of sight, but the tank is actually losing frustration because of the fog that way, and Chris is doing his best to LOS behind that tree as well. Let's see if they decide to send one more rock hit for it, because the tank is still healthy enough to commit. Charger, Smoker, and a Hunter in the queue here, and there's some time I think that we're taking a while to get resolved in the back, but there's a pull and a rock onto Chris once again with that Hunter landing for a hot second too. This is now getting on the survivors' nerves, as we can probably guess, MK, and this is the kind of SI play that Sad Boys really do want to look for, and Chris has eaten 2 rocks at this point. If another boom lands for another rocket here, they could even get an in cap on him and keep playing bleed, and because the score is as close as it is with map 5 most likely being played, there's no reason for them to stop. As the boomer does jump in, it gets M2'd around by the team, and the rock is going to get skeeted as well. Let's see if that changes anything at all with the boomer dying first. Looks like they're going to go for the rock hit just off the bat here. Charger not going to land. Jockey also gets annihilated. That's more what we expect to see from Team Fear Factory, unless this hitbox somehow lands, which it will not.
No, that's a good job by the Survivor team shutting down the spawns there. They're not going to get much of anything out of it. So before the tank committed here, Rails, they were at 1099. Now they're at 980. So these attacks are doing damage, and they have already gotten 3, possibly a 4th incoming. And it looks like they're going to go for a 4th hit. Smoker's going to get a pull. Hunter coming in for a DP. Smoker's cleared. The Hunter lands. The rock is skeeted. The Smoker comes again. Boomer getting bullied. Doesn't get nothing. And that goes from 980 to 942. It's not much, but they're chipping away, Rails. They're chipping away.
I mean, okay. At this point, if that Boomer doesn't b-hop its way in and just vomits, it might actually land there, but the tank is going to be forced to commit. Chris is going to be forced to take a set of pills, and I don't know exactly what setup they're going to have for it, but it's going to be something with a Smoker, which is kind of what they need. Maybe not, actually. Jockey, Hunter, and Charger instead. My bad for on that failed prediction, I guess, of what I was counting on the spawns. I was being hopeful for the SI, but instead they have to make this work as the tank commits. Brands going in, going on Chris at first, but the Hunter is going to land on the opposite side of things. Rock does land onto Ellis. Charger is going to whiff, and this is why I was kind of being hopeful for the Smoker, I guess, if you're on the SI side of things. 2 more punches going on to Ellis as the tank is getting railed. He does miss that punch, but without that Smoker in that open area, MK, that's why I kind of thought they might have already accounted for it. You really don't get a whole lot of help until one of those other pinners lands. So it turns into 2 rocks plus what, like 2 or 3 other punches basically, but no in cap going out from that.
No, but remember, when that tank was up, 1099 was the bonus, down to 633. I mean, it's not a terrible tank. They did good job. They got 4 hits before the commit, and were able to do a pretty standard tank fight. Almost in capping 1 survivor, but unfortunately, like you said, he did miss that punch, and now they have a 2-2 with the Hunter and Smoker. It's actually a retro attack accompanied by the Spitter, and I don't know if this doesn't land. Oh, they picked the Spitter!
Yeah, Boomer's gonna drop in, does get a single boom. I think they're going for the quad. That might have been the idea, because they know there is only maybe 1.5 more opportunities to deal with the survivors here, and I think they are just gonna actually have to wait to the safe room, because the survivors are holding W. You know that they know the exact same thing, and even with that partial water slowdown of the map, they are not going to care whatsoever, and they're actually going to get right up to the safe room here. This is going to cause the quad to go in maybe before everything is ready as well. That Charger is still looking for a spawn. Now does manage to find it, and they're going to be going for a Charger in the open next to Ellis there in that room. Was not able to land it despite the fact they were inside. I was looking in that direction because the survivors went both directions that way. Managed to avoid the multi-cap, and that is what Team Fear Factory needs to do if they want to win this match. It's going to be 2,428 points to 971 71 in favor of Team Fear Factor's 1,164 points on that map, MK. That does put some pressure on Sad Boys, I think. They had the better map last map, but they can't afford another screw-up like they had on map 1, or else they might actually not be in reaching distance if it's only 1 through 4 when we play this campaign.
Yeah, I had the feeling that we're going to see the finale, and the last time we saw a finale on Hard Rain Downpour, it was with the Sad Boys playing. And if you remember, they landed the quad to clutch the comeback on that map, but we had the honor to catch that game. Can we see the same thing happen when we get to that point? But we'll have to finish map 3 first. Tank is going to be at 77%. Opening hit will be a Charger, Smoker, Boomer, and a Hunter. So they're probably going to hit on the outside here, I would say, Rails, due to the fact that there is no spitter to maximize the damage on the inside of this building.
Yeah, I mean, these hits are pretty survivable, obviously, for any competent survivor team, but I'm still thinking back to that choke, and I'm looking forward to the brick choke on this chapter where they have to go out and deal with the 2 platforms and then hop out of that, because that can be so devastating. But let's see exactly what Team Sad Boys are able to do on the survivor side of things, and for the SI's first hit, it's going to be that Charger, Smoker, Boomer, and Hunter, as you mentioned, because there is really no charge, spit, or pound spit potential on this, and depending on their sack order, that's what they're going to have for the next one after that. So as long as nobody gets super separated or multi-boom lands, they should be decent on the survivor side of things, but they're taking it slow anyway. Hunter going for the DP, Boomer's still up top. Charger drops in, does that play, nice double cap landing on that with the Charger and the Hunter landing, but that is a clear going out onto the Smoker and just about 19 damage on that MK. And now the question does come down to what do they want on the SI side for this next hit, if it's fast, but really for that drop hit.
Oh, they got the spawns they want, Rails. They're going to get the best hit in the game. They're going to get Charger, Hunter, Jockey, Spitter. The sack order was phenomenal. It's just a question on where do they want to send it. And then there it is, the rotation. Jockey, Charger, Hunter last, and the Spitter. There it is. That's the best hit next to a quad, Rails. Let's see if they go for the twisting stairs or on the transition on the outside. And it looks like they want to go for the stairs. I can't disagree with it, but now they know where the Charger is. They got baited.
I disagree with this. And the reason I disagree with this is because of the power of the outside thing, and there's no way to decommit this Charger right now. Like, they have to actually go in. With the Hunter doing just that, Charger's gonna have to make it count as well. They're gonna try to stack, as we can see. Charger's gonna go onto Sticks with the Jockey as well, landing onto him. That is a decent amount of damage onto Snicks for that trade. Interesting decision to go there for it instead of being outside, but they end up doing more damage than the other team had on their SI half at this point that they are now jumping over. So good on Team Fear Factory to stay aggressive, trying to control the pace with their SI, and I don't know if Sad Boys were not ready for that or exactly what that was, but Snicks did kind of get demolished on that landing. Let's see if they can have another decent hit on this. Smoker, Boomer, Hunter, and Spitter for this next one incoming from Fear Factory with the Hunter pre-spawned already on the roof. As the survivors work their way forward, Hunter is going to land, Spit is going to go in and land as well onto Nick, but that Smoker in the front is pretty much alone, except now he's going to get a fall onto Snicks, who ran forward for that to be the last SI to die in the spawn order. So now let's see MK, because they already have one survivor who's in partial bleed and is going to need to commit pills for this. That gives Fear Factory the chance to play a really long tank on the SI side of things as well. Plus we have this hit to navigate. It's going to be a Hunter, Charger, Jockey, not a quad though, with that Spitter coming in. So another very strong hit thanks to the sack order on the SI side of things. Let's see what they're able to do on survivor side or right before this tank spawns, and actually might spawn while they're making their transition out here, MK.
I believe so, but one thing is to look at the bonus. It's at 1,002. They were at 1099 when Tank spawned. The Hunter's trying to find a target. It does eventually. The Charger messes up that pull very well by charging into it, but there's no survivor to do damage to. And actually that attack, wow, look at the bonus. Gets dropped down to 901, and that's an example of what happens when the DB is open there, Rails. The points get melted away when you damage the DB.
Exactly, and the tank is now in the hands of aggressive WAK Manzano for Team Fear Factory. Let's see what he is able to do, because the first thing he's going to do is do the exact same thing that the other team's tank did and climb directly on top of the roof. Boomer gets popped, and as you just mentioned, with that damage bonus being open, as I kind of alluded to before, there is a chance to play a massive amount of bleed here now, so long as the tank can actually keep first pass and not get sighted by the fog, you know what I mean? So this is now something where the SI can maybe take a few hits to do this and at least guarantee the bleed to give them more hits afterwards, but I think they're eventually going to commit this tank with a much more favorable setup in the open field. Maybe something like this. Jockey, Smoker, Hunter for this hit from Fear Factory. Smoker points on the front. Rock is being picked up and thrown at the same time. Not going to land. Hunter gets blown out of the sky by Healy, and the Jockey does also get shut down. So that's probably the best open field commit they could have asked for on that. and commit setup, I should say. So now they're gonna have to watch two things. One, the chip through the floor, and also what spawns are going to be in the next rotation, and they might have to sack another set of spawns, or take a little bit of chip before they get exactly what they want here. But MK, I really don't like it when you don't have at least the smoker for the commit hit here. Now let's see if they can make use of it. In this rock hit as well. Charger is not going to land. Smoker is going to go in and going to get a quick pull, but then cleared. Rock does also get skeeted, and the Boomer is now just kind of on the side of the shack, waiting for the survivors to LOS, but they're going for the chip game instead, and that curve rock was dangerously close to Coach for a hot second there, but now he's getting railed through the floor. MK, he's down to 5k HP almost already.
That is a lot. The Boomer does get a 1 proxy. Now, one thing to note, the DB is at 88%. That means 264 points is on the DB right now. So if he goes for sinks, he's going to commit with that boom. The Hunter's going to get the pounce. He's probably going to throw a rock here. He is down to half HP. The rock lands. He switches a punch onto another survivor. He's spreading the love to Healy as well. Now he needs help from the infected. He's down to 1,500 HP. The Charger gets a punch, gets another punch, then a double charge, and he comes in with another punch on the survivor who's charged, and I think that'll be all he gets, and that will be it. The tank is dead, but Rails, Fear Factory has won the map. They're going to go up even more points into map 4, and one thing to note, Rails, map 4 is only worth 400 distance. It's going to be tough for Sad Boys to mount to come back now.
That was an interesting tank fight, because that Charger did not land until the very end. It got a few punches and then the double charge, and that changed a lot of things for that, because now they have one survivor who's permanent slow, I should say. I was going to say permanent bleed slow, but that's not how it is. Permanent health slow instead, and 2 survivors in permanent bleed. So, this Hunter is going to be going in for Rochelle, getting blown out of the sky, I should say, by Healy on that skeet. And that is going to maybe give the survivors the opportunity to not deal with a whole bunch of other shit, except for the quad boom that they now have to deal with because they all M2'd it. And there's a pull back side onto Rochelle as well, excuse me for that. Now this Spit's going to go down to get some kind of delay, is going to get picked as well. Jockey's going to be in the queue here, but I think now Sad Boys are getting a little bit more nervous. They have to just basically make this map with the bonus they do. They still have like around 400, but map 4 is going to be everything, and that's why I really would like to know if we're playing map 5 before we start it, just so we can know the hype stakes for it, but if not, we'll see as we go, because it's right now Team Fear Factory's game to lose. It's still obviously possible for Sad Boys to make the comeback, especially in 2 maps. This tank will be absolutely huge on the next map, barring some kind of catastrophe here, and it'll still be huge even if they wipe. Hunter, Boomer, Jockey, Charger for Team Fear Factory as we are going forward here. Jockey is going to go, and the Jockey is still going. The Hunter lands at the end of that for some rolling damage. Actually, a really nice decision by that Hunter to wait for that next opportunity to get even a bit more damage off of it, but that is going to be Sad Boys making the safe room with just about 281 bonus to bring this game still relatively close, MK, but that was what Team Fear Factory are looking for. So they've essentially won map 1 and map 3 so far, with Sad Boys bringing it back on map 2, but they need a huge map 4 on Sad Boys' side to prevent this from being the first loss that they incur in this tournament, MK, from Team Fear Factory.
Yeah, and I think 100% this finale is being played, Rails. I don't think it's a term, if it isn't or isn't, it's 100% going to be played. I call it now. I don't see the situation where they don't. It's a really close game. This finale is pretty balanced when it comes to as far as fairness. You take a hit out of the safe room, you start the event, you'll take about 4 more hits, fight a tank, take 2 more hits, and then get on the rescue vehicle. I mean, you're not moving through the map, you're sitting in one spot, but as far as fairness and balance, I would have to say, Rails, this is probably the most balanced finale out there at this moment. In my opinion.
Yeah. And because it's just one tank at this point, right?
Yes, yeah. I like the fact that it's one tank. I think that's what people don't like sitting out finales, which I understand. But if you had a balance of finale, one tank is the best way to do it. Lower the distance. I think maybe 500 distance would be perfect, but it's at currently 600. So if you do the math of how many SI attacks they would take, it's about 7 plus tank. And I don't know, it could be debated of what it is, but since you're not moving through the map, I think it's a lot easier for survivors to maintain a position and block spawns and whatnot. That's just my personal opinion on that matter, but I don't know if November is part of this team or if they just changed the tag name while loading in, but we'll have to figure out what's going on here with November. I'm trying to see if this person's actually part of the team or not.
Yeah, I'm fairly sure that the tank fight here too is going to be in either one of two spots. I don't think they can actually push it forward to that house in the front, like the Blood Harvest-esque house there. I think they're going to have to fight it on the rooftops in that classic variation of the old, like, hard rain map 4 fight. But it's a lot. I think it's better for the survivors on downpour here because there are still hittables to whack in and that kind of stuff, but it's less all or nothing in some ways, depending on what the survivors decide to do with it.
I agree.
I don't see the point here, right, where either team is going to be able to basically just safely make the map. I think there's going to be some chaos on both sides just because of the way the match has gone so far. And 600 points here, okay, you factor in the 400 distance. If there is a wipe on Team Fear Factory, right, which we have not yet seen, then that would give Sad Boys the exact opportunity that they need to basically jump back in front in this game, but they played from behind the entire time after Map 1 being insane. And it still basically is the Map 1 Delta because of how Map 2 and Map 3 went. So this is the chance that they need, and they need a hell of a tank from whoever actually gets to play it in this scenario. And I'm fairly sure it's going to be... We saw Brands, we saw Sangs, we saw Healy's as well, so I think it's going to be Snicks, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure, yeah, because Staying already had his, Brands already had his, I'm pretty sure Healy had the tank, so I think you're right. And now, even though this is downpour, he can get 4 cars into play if he takes his time. So there can be a total of 4. They're pretty much the same on regular hard rain. But just like you were saying, though, it's a lot more difficult to get the cars in position, and the survivors, I would say, have a better time to react to cars that come flying in from nowhere.
Right, but there are plenty of ladders and that kind of stuff that can be used as well that give the SI a really big advantage just because they have few more spawns and booms in this area, plus smoker pulls and cars are catastrophic in any area. That's awful, but specifically here, this is now something where the survivors, like I said, it's their game to lose on Fear Factory's side, but they have to just not make a mental error and get somebody accidentally in-capped or killed, or just randomly, you know, basically, you know, in a position that is not good for them, and they need to just not lose track of what's going on, not lose focus, and also at the same point in time deal with this first hit from Team Sad Boys, who are the tournament's #1 seed in these winner bracket finals, I should say. Trying to make their way back. Hunter is going, Johnny's going to win as well with the spitter spat, the pounce instead of the charge target, with the jockey landing for a little bit as well, but good damage across the board indeed. It will be Snicks with the tank in just a little bit of time here, MK, as the spitter is looking to despawn somewhere in the back, probably right before the survivors get close to this house area, and indeed there is the tank spawn for Sad Boys in the hands of Snicks. He's going to start working his way just towards the survivors who are backing right up, not fighting him outside the house there, MK, and instead taking it back to that kind of map 4 vanilla hard rain spot that everybody's used to from the 13 or whatever how many years it's been playing this game.
Oh, the car comes in. That's in a good spot, Rails.
Oh yeah, and he's going to bring it all. He has to bring the alarm car too.
I know he's not. I thought he didn't go for the extra car. He's only going to have 3. It's too late to go for it now, so Snicks has to make do with this. And if
he's thinking...
They might push him here, Rails, if he hits this.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's thinking maybe keep this one here, but from where Rochelle was, I thought he could have hit that and then got close to the survivors to actually stop it instead, and that's going to be a separation pounce on top with a quick clear and a single boom going out. Indeed, he made that same kind of calculation. He's going to be staying on this roof and not pushable into the street because the survivors now are going to try to rail him with the chip Uzis, which is kind of working. He's down to 5,500 HP, but he can also keep sight on the survivor on the roof, and they are a little split. So there's one hittable directly in front of them, there's one hittable on the roof, and then there's another hatchback in the street. I think what he's going to do is he's going to commit from the right-hand side, maybe, and try to get that hatchback onto the roof as well, or get that clean kind of car hit that usually...
Oh, they're pushing?
Whites, but he needs...
They should have done this a long time ago. They did it late, but now he has spawns. All right, take the tank away, Rails. Go.
Indeed. All right, so the tank's already down to under 2K, and he has no hittable up here. The Hunters are going to be one on the side. This is going to be almost a no-hitter. That's going to be a 2-hitter today. Going out. Now, let me explain what I saw there. So, okay. If he was going to hit the other car in, the one thing that he had to do is not let the survivors push directly into his face. Then he dropped down, waited for the other survivor to come in, got one punch on him, but then he had no hittable over there. So when he spawned, he may have wanted to get that car, like the other alarm car that they're pushing towards right now, to have that be in that area and then do that other thing. But the reason I said I thought he was going to commit in the other spot is because that's the only way to really choke the survivors out in that spot. But that is the exact opposite of what Sad Boys needed in that spot. Really scattered hit as well from for the most part, aside from the quad boom there, they're going to need a quad attempt to do this, and that's what they're setting up for, because Fear Factory only taking 2 punches on that are poised to pull this upset here, MK, and actually make it into that grand finals of AST3 just from the fact they were able to play that tank that well. Once he hit that other car over, I thought, okay, you want to do that, and then maybe, you know, if you thought you were going to let the survivors push forward, then you keep it there, but he had to be in so much faster on the commit and not let them push directly into his face, which is exactly what they did. So Smoker, Charger, Hunter, and a Jockey for this next hit from Sad Boys. Let's see exactly what they are able to do, or if they're able to actually salvage this chapter, because this is a mammoth bonus. 695 with 78.9 rather percent bonus. That tripped me up just because of how large it is on this map, especially for a 400 distance map, and they need something huge to happen here, because the survivors are taking their sweet ass time as the SI already pre-spawned with the Hunter and the Jockey on the top there. Going in for it now though, Charger's not going to land, Hunter's going to land, Jockey gets M2'd around and shut down MK. This is Team Fear Factory taking total control of this game.
I think that might be out of reach. It's gonna, I mean, look at that bonus, 679. Let's see what the tally up, 3,504 points, Rails. That is massive for Hard Rain. Even considering map 2, they didn't make it all to the safe room. That is a huge campaign score.
It is, now they start doing the necessary ritualistic sacrifice of Chris as there's something else that lands after the map has already ended. But because it already did 3,504 points to 1,851, it's still possible, of course, because what Sad Boys need to do is just basically survive the tank, but a 2-hitter tank from Snicks there in that area because of hittable placement is not what they were looking for. And now what they need to do, I mean, reset once again, because this is something that happened on map 1 that they basically were able to, you know, overcome from the opposite side of things. But if there's one time for the tourney's #1 seed to try to recapture the momentum right now, like, they need to play this perfectly on Survivor side. They can't afford a hittable, they can't afford a multi-boom, they can't afford to pull into a hittable. Any of that happening at all means that Team Fear Factory would probably take this game, and of course with a wipe it'll already be over. So let's see if Team Sad Boys are able to survive. This will be an NF Meister tank for Fear Factory, Hunter, Spitter, Jockey, and a Charger for this first hit from Team Fear Factory on map 4 of Hard Rain Downpour. Survivors are waiting to go out. Hunter's pre-spawn below, Spitter's up top, Jockey's gonna commit from the top as well. Charger is going to land for a split second there with that double charge, but the spit was just a little bit off. It does touch Snicks. That was really, really good, MK, and that's basically the most they could have done.
Yeah, I mean, that bonus has already suffered all the pill bonus, just 11 points more than what the regular bonus is worth minus the pills, and now will be the 4th tank, maybe the final tank of the game. We'll have to see her for Fear Factory in the hands of NF Meister, longtime player, played with Skyrise and some other teams along the way, now playing with Fear Factory. And so far, the switch has worked in his favor. They are looking like they're going to sit in #1 spot for the winner bracket until the end of this tournament. But right now they're going to go in with spawns. Smoker gets a pull onto Healy. Jockey covers a nice double boom from the bottom as NF brings that extra car into play, just as I was talking about, Rails. He's going to have 4 of them, not just 3.
Yeah, this is really good, because now what he can do is he can hit the 1 alarm car forward and use that to have that car plus the hatchback plus maybe 1 more, depending on what he does with it. And they can also leave 1 in the forward area to prevent the survivors from death pushing in the way that we saw in the last half. Let's see what he decides to do with this. It's all hittable management at this point. Smoker, Hunter, and a Charger for the support. Car goes flying in over the roof and is going to be sliding off of it. That's not exactly what he wanted. That car goes helicoptering over the top as well. Decent spot, but at this point the survivors know they can't push forward, I'm pretty sure, because there is another car, but if they don't, they could call to push forward and accidentally kill themselves. That's the other thing that could happen, depending on how this goes. That car goes flying up on the roof, not going to land, and the tank is indeed in with this as his support. Smoker spawns up top, does land, tank whiffs, then the pull goes in, but he doesn't get the punch onto Coach. Now he gets the punch onto Coach, but it's only 1 hit so far with the Smoker already dead. Hunter coming in for Coach on the side as well, and does manage to land, because that survivor, that being saying, is still split, and the tank still has 3k HP. He's so separated because of the punch that landed before, I'm fairly sure. That rock does land onto Rochelle, and the tank is now out with that in cap already being catastrophic somewhat for Team Fear Factory's opponents, those being Sad Boys. He was so split because of that 1 punch that landed from the Smoker pull, and that could have actually been a whole lot worse instead of 1 in cap. So it's still a game that Sad Boys can come back and win based on this. The tank is down to 10% frustration, 5% frustration. It goes bot. Poker pole does go up, landing onto Coach for the second time in this tank fight, and now it is just a bot tank. That looked like so much more than one in cap, MK. It really did.
Yeah, I thought it could have been, but one thing that we gotta note is that Fear Factory has already won the map, so the delta is going to get further away for Sad Boys. Even if they make it in with the bonus, which you know, they'll take a little bit more damage, and we're going to have to come into the number game here. Do they have enough? The Hunter lands, and so will the Spitter. The Charger is unable to make a play on it, neither can the Jockey. But the bonus goes down to 529 compared to Fear Factory's 676. They're about to go down another 150, and I think that's 700 points, Rails. Charger goes solo, but doesn't get nothing.
Well, it's still going to be doable because there are massive deltas on this finale in multiple situations, I think, that are recoverable. That Charger went for the open field play, but did not manage to land it. As the survivors continue working their way forward here, double boom does land. And as long as they don't take any more damage, it'll still be entertaining on the finale. Like I said, tank like guaranteed, right, that they really, really need. Nothing else really will suffice except for a plot. Hunter goes in, will land on Rochelle for a second, and also that smoker pull is going to go in on Rochelle too, so they're kind of bullying Snicks as much as possible here prior to getting out of this. Reloading, but with the common still showing behind and no real damage in the damage giver, I should say, in the special infected spawn cube with no Charger spit. Yeah, I think this is going to be something where they get at least close enough to the safe room to avoid any catastrophe. Now the damage dealer is there, along with the Jockey and the smoker to set this up. Charger rockets off, the pull charge spit is going to classically go down onto Snicks for what is going to be another in-cap thanks to that smoker dragging her through, and the Jockey landing in the safe room. That's actually a tremendous amount of damage for that MK, and Coach can't get this clear. What is going on in this safe room? That was literally another 100 points or something like that sliding off an MK. That's more than 700. That's 3,504 to 2,623. So this is going to be a hell of a comeback. It's to be won here, and it needs a wipe. It absolutely needs a wipe on Sad Boy's side.
And we're seeing finale. I knew we were going to see it. If there was anyone that we would see, it would be this one. So this is the second finale we're seeing played in this tournament that's not a 4-chapter campaign. I'm excited to see it too.
It goes back to map 1. It really does go back to map 1 because of that early death charge that we saw, and now it gets into this position as well of, like, that last hit should not have done that much damage, honestly, and there was another hit or two on, I want to say it was, like map 3 and that kind of stuff where the survivors just haven't. There have been points where it's like, okay, if this one thing doesn't happen and everything else is different, like the double charge on the tank on map 3, plus then what we saw on there, and it's like, okay, so it's been just a better game overall by Fear Factory so far, and if Sad Boys want to reverse it, whoever gets this tank is going to have to do work, like we mentioned. And now we are going to be going live here with these winner bracket finals of the third Swiss tournament, so another Swiss tournament 3, I should say, as we do have Team Fear Factory looking for the upset on Survivor side. They've got just about a 900-point lead going into this last map with Team Sad Boys on Special Infected, Hunter, Boomer, Smoker, and a Charger for this first hit. Let's see what they can make happen with it, because they need to make those huge plays, MK.
Exactly. All right, they are out. Spawns are up. Smoker comes in. Hunter comes over the top. Hunter lands. The Charger misses. It'll be a rolling 2-cap with a triple boom. So, I mean, that's great damage without the spitter rails. That is almost 8%. I think you couldn't ask for anything more if you were the infected side, beside letting the Charger land to get a little bit more damage. But I would be very happy with that if I'm the infected side. But we'll have to see what that sack order was, what they get the next set of spawns to be. And let's see, Rails, it'll be a spitter, a Jockey, a Charger, will it be a Hunter? Great sack order, best hit you could get in the game, minus a quad there.
And the survivors are going to take it on the roof first, as this will be the start of the common. That Hunter's going to go in, Charger's going to roll, and does manage to land. I think he can Target and the double cap up top. Jockey is still going to spit too, as this is happening, and that's going to be a clear, but that's tremendous damage already, MK, so don't shut the door on the #1 seed just yet. Sad Boys are doing their best to get as much damage as possible, and that's exactly what they needed. This tank in the hands of Brand is going to have to do a lot of work, probably get the wipe like we mentioned, but that's a good way to open it up, and it does show that the SI team still does have confidence going into this next hit.
And it's going to be a tri-cap with boom. You know, they did land a great hit with the spitter. You can't have that hit every sack. Nice 2-boom, though. A little bad on the sack order. The Charger and the Smoker, I think, die at the end. So it will be a 2-2 with the... trying to do my math in my head here, and I'm failing terribly here, Rails. Hunter Jockey, I think. Hunter Jockey 2-2.
Something like that. I would have liked to see the charger spawn somewhere closer to the smoker on the roof, maybe, because that double boom plus that pole could have been huge. Maybe not a death charge, but maybe a double cap. But instead, they're going to go next hit now. Smoker, jockey, spitter, and the boomer for it as we see it go. That's going to be a nice pull on one separated survivor over there. We've seen that be a theme on both team sides. And this is a good amount of damage going on to Fear Factory so far. It hasn't been a clean survivor round whatsoever, and they're up enough to where it doesn't really matter a whole lot. But, you know, if this wipe does come in and the bonus is still, you know, and it's going to be, what, a possible, like, let's see, realistically, if Sad Boys or Fear Factory were to make it, how much would they have? Maybe 400, 500? That would still be winnable for Sad Boys. So Fear Factory can't take their foot off the gas yet. They may have just a little bit. As we see this next hit go, and YOLO charge is not going to land. Jockey's looking for a scratch and then a jock onto Rochelle for a split second, but it's all about this tank in the hands of Brands, who's now going to be rotating to the left-hand side and maybe trying to get a little bit of sight, but he has to be so careful. They really can't do a chip for Rock game here, MK. I don't think they have to go for the wipe.
Yeah, no, if there's no wipe here, I'm pretty sure, almost 100% that Sad Boys are not going to be able to make the comeback unless they deplete all the bonus and we crunch the numbers. But we're going to get a smoker pull. It misses onto Coach. He baits it out. Smoker pulls the guy in the back and they get a rock and a quad boom rails.
Yo, if that Hunter just stayed alive, they could have committed this with the quad, and they might actually still do that, because the tank is going to start working his way, and he still has a smoker for support. I don't know if they know where the tank is. That car goes flying up in the air.
Oh.
Literally stuck on the side, and the tank is trying its damnedest to get in. He's going to get a multi-punch on the survivors, and he has to stay in now with the quad boom forward. He doesn't have anybody slow, however. Man, that was close to a hittable. He does have Coach in a corner now, though. Maybe one more as he's flying around. Tank is going to get the down. There's the in cap, and now he's going to be pushing back in. There's so much forward MK. Choker's going to whip. Smoker does land. The tank has 1400 HP, getting the down onto Chris, but there's so much more. He should get out. He should absolutely get out, and that's what he's going to be doing. He's still on first pass, going to throw a rock around the corner, not going to land it, and he should just stay out. He should just stay all the way out. Don't get killed through the roof, and just let the damage keep on going, because it's not the wipe MK, but it's the closest thing they could get to it. And had he pushed those two survivors in the corner, he might have actually been able to get something there as he decided to retarget on the smoker's target there. That could have easily been a wipe, but with all that bonus depleted, they're still going to get the distance points. It's so close, MK.
Yes, it is. I mean, it was so unfortunate. His support, none of it landed on his commit there. The boom was amazing, but they weren't able to back up. The rock doesn't land. He's trying to get one more. Can he get it through the door? Or they kill him off, and they kill him off. It's a huge fact that they survived this tank fight, and now they'll get the additional 300 points by just surviving. Bonus is only at 90, though, and I don't think they really care about the bonus rails. They just want to make it to the rescue vehicle.
Exactly, yeah, and that's just the way to do it, because I mean that was so close to a wipe. I'll reiterate there, and if that Hunter had just stayed a little bit more alive before going in there, then they would have maybe had a quad boom with two support to get something to happen. But instead, this is going to be going in. Hunter's going to land. We do have that smoker pull landing too. Boomer does bunny hop its way up against M2. We've seen that happen a lot, but now does die for a proxy. Really no bonus up to speak on MK. They could try to get some kind of death charge or something to stop the score from ticking up, but this is a huge ask now for Sad Boys, and with how Fear Factory's been playing, I think they're gonna close this out.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. We'll crunch numbers once this is over. They still have a chance to wipe them. There's still 184 points to be had by Fear Factory, which furthers their advantage here. They're sending spawns in quickly. The Hunter Charger got melted. The Hunter, I think, is the only thing that lands. The Jockey doesn't even find the spawn. Jockey does get M2'd and killed, and they're going to walk in with this small bonus rails. Here comes the rescue vehicle.
All of those distance points. The SI, that being Sad Boys, really needed that wipe to not get those other 300 distance points. Because now this becomes a huge task. It's going to be 600 distance plus a stupid amount of bonus for them to be able to pull off this comeback as the #1 seed. I don't see it happening at the moment, just based on how this is. Charger and Hunter are going to try to spawn the best that they can. Hunter's going to get blown out of the sky. Boomer gets a single boom. The Charger cannot spawn on that, I do not believe.
No, it's been patched.
That's going to be the end of that. What a jump. The Team Fear Factory in the winners bracket finals, doing this the way that they have to put potentially what's looking like the first loss on Sad Boys tournament record, 4,140 points MK, to currently 2,623. it would be the comeback of a lifetime, and they would need to shut down every hit and also kill the tank, probably outside, if I'm being honest. They can't go inside like that, 'cause that's a guaranteed single or double in cap. And they need, let's see, 900 bonus, right? Something like that, in order to make this comeback. And I mean, that's doable, but they need to play this perfectly on Survivor side.
Yeah, they need to put up just shy of 1,500 points total, so 600 distance minus 1,500, 900 bonuses, right? They'll need, I think it's 880 something that they need as far as bonus-wise. And let's see, what do they have? They have 1,200, no. This is 600 distance, so it's 30 points for the pills. They'll have 1,320 as bonus. So it's there, the number is there, but they only have 400 and some to spare, Rails. It can be done.
Let's see.
It can be done, but it's quite a tall glass to fill. And they're going to go in quick with a smoker clear right away. Hunter gets skeeted. The Charger comes in and misses. And that's the start that they needed, Rails. That's the start they needed.
Exactly. If there's one time to redeem what happened on map 1, it is right now. And that's how they're going to be probably approaching this, heading towards the roof. They're going to clear all the common from the back, and one survivor is actually still hanging back there to do just that as the 3 others push forward to start this. So, okay. The reason I say they want to try to take it up top is because, like I said, if they give a free corner whatsoever inside the safe for less, they're dead, right? That's basically how they have to look at it. And staying on top of the roof like this, I think, is the right call, but then, you know, it's a high-risk, high-reward hittable situation, to say nothing of this hit going in now. Smoker coming from the roof, as well as a jockey. Hunter is going to land for a split second, does get cleared. Spit goes down onto Coach. Smoker pull is not going to land, but it's just for damage. MK, this spot that they're in right now is one of the more overpowered Survivor spots. If you had to ask me, for a team that knows how to play it well, they just can't afford to have anything happen near the back of the store pretty much at any point in time, right? Not the store, rather, but the burger tank. So they need to basically hang on top of the burger tank and then force this tank to hit his hittables in a way that makes sense for the SI, but also in one where the survivors can juke it the best that they can. This dude is looking for something underneath. Charger, Hunter, and a jockey. For the spawns, all up top. Hunter gets thrown out of the sky. Charger is not going to land. The double boom does manage to land, but once again, no damage. This is what I was talking about, MK. It is doable in this spot, but they need to not lose roof control, and then they need to pray that that tank does not get some kind of cooldown or double boom in order to set up anything like a death.
No, you're definitely right, but they're chipping away. They're getting about 5% of the bonus down. It's not enough to get the W if that's all they do every hit. And one thing to note now is that when booms do land, Rails, with the recent update to Zone Mod, commons do 2 damage no matter where you get punched now. So if you don't help your boom survivor as a pull pounce lands on the same target, Spit will land onto Ellis. They'll get the bonus down. The tank is up, though. Final tank of the game for Fear Factory in the hands of Chris. And looks like they're trying to chip him.
Literally right up there as the tank spawned, and the tank was slow walking, and Nick did not see where he was. Now he's rotating to the right-hand side, but he's gonna get chipped for this. In really an amount that does not matter at the end of it. Nick literally was looking for him, and he was directly underneath. One boom does go out onto Healy, and Chris is now on that right-hand side roof with those comments still coming in. Thank you for informing us as well of that change to Zone Mod. I was not aware that they did something like that where it's now 2 damage all around versus the classic 1 at the back and 2 at the front. But at this point, Chris is just going to wait. It's going to be a Charger and a Smoker for the next set of spawns, and I think he's just going to try to take as little chip as possible before going in. He's not interested in playing Rock, not interested in doing anything else but that commit, it would seem. It's going to be based on his hittables, and there's no boomer. Okay, let's see what Chris actually manages to make happen here, because I don't think they're going to transition him to the store. They're going to fight him outside, and he has to get his hittables in short order here, because if for whatever reason they decide to backpedal to the store after taking 1k HP off him, they could do that as well. But I think they're content with the roof at the moment, and indeed they are. Tank is going to be looking to hit that up top, but he actually hasn't gotten any hittables so far anywhere near them. He's down to 4,600 HP. Hit is going to be up now coming in. Rochelle is pulled. That is all they need, really, as that's going to be the corner. But instead, Rochelle gets hit away, and there's no hittable there, as the other survivors are still up top. Charger's going to miss. Hunter's going in. There's one survivor pinned directly next to the tank, but he's down to 1k HP. He's going to get the hit on the Healy, but that is not going to be a death. And let's see, they still have 900 bonus, but I think it's going to be just short MK. Well, wait, they have to get the other sets of pills that are in there as well. Let's see if this does absolutely anything. 935.
They have enough. They had 50 points. They have 50 points to spare, Rails.
Oh, this is so heartbreaking for Sad Boys. If they just didn't let that one pinner land up top, they actually could have nearly no-hit that, but Chris instead did just enough to where they could actually see this win on Fear Factory side as of yet. Smoker Pull is going to go out. Jockey gets M2'd and basically shut down. Spit damage goes in, but nobody really takes it. This is going to be so close, MK, when we're looking at it.
I cannot believe we're talking that they can do the comeback. They are less than 40 points away, though. They're losing them as they go along. They'll have to take, I think, 2 more SI attacks. It was a Smoker Jockey. I think they sacked for a quad, though. I don't know if they were weary of it. Yeah, it's quad. They can't pop. They can't pop, though. They won't get any more points because of pills. They can only hold it. Here comes the quad attempt, Rails. This is such a big hit. The Smoker gets a pull. It's a 2-cap, and that's going to be it.
2-cap with the Charger taking the Survivor away to win the game. That is great special infected play by Fear Factory. The you guys suck coming in at his own team at the end of that. That should put any doubt to bed for Team Fear Factory. They should be winning this game, and indeed they have, I believe, based on that bonus. So yeah, that's going to be pretty much it, and that's going to be the first loss that Team Sad Boys have suffered just because of that nice play on the quad to get that separation pull, and then the Charger, instead of going for the 4, went for the guaranteed damage to win the game, and that's exactly what you want to do in that situation. But that's off the Fear Factory for how they played it. Pound Spit is indeed going to land, but that means that Fear Factory are going to make it into those grand finals of AST3 MK, and that, as you mentioned, I think at the top of the cast, is the first loss for Team Sad Boys. So great job by Fear Factory sticking with it, and now let's see exactly who's going to meet them at the end of that losers bracket. Commiserations to Team Sad Boys, who are going to make the boat like this, but do not seem to have enough points to pull it back, and indeed they don't. Let's see exactly what happens now on this last hit. Smoker Hunter Charger Boomer for Fear Factory on it. Let's see what they do. As that Hunter is going to land, Smoker Pull does land for a split second well, and then the Charger goes in, does not land on the Pound Survivor, lands on Healy instead. Just for good measure, but it won't be enough, MK. That is Team Fear Factory taking the win over Team Sad Boys, and dare I say it, MK, it really almost did come down to that first map in some ways.
Yes, it did, man. It came down to that death chart. But let's tally up everything, and we'll have 4,140 points for Fear Factory against Sad Boys 3,787 Rails. What a tournament!